morning, good afternoon, good evening to our viewers. Thank you again for joining us today. We are going to be chatting about the academic support zone with a couple Lakehead experts from our student success team. We're also joined by a special guest from international enrollment. So we're going to dive into it here. Before we talk about the theme of today's webinar, I'd like to talk about upcoming live events that we have scheduled. So tomorrow over on Instagram, we're going to be doing an Instagram live with Chen, who is a current student studying education and chemistry. So we'll chat about her journey from China and her academic experience, her involvement in clubs, and so much more. And then we'll be doing our Wednesday weekly admissions update. So that happens every Wednesday with our undergraduate and graduate admissions teams answering your admissions and applications related questions. And then this Friday, we're going to be meeting up with the Faculty of Education. We actually were lucky enough to secure the Dean of the faculty. So Wayne Melville will be joining us to chat all about the offerings within those programs and that faculty itself. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Jordan. For those of you who haven't been able to join us before, I am the International New and Social Media Officer here at Lakehead University. I help oversee our social media, our online presence, our live events, that sort of thing. I do a bit more too, but I'll pass it over to Jason to introduce himself now.
Thank you, Jordan. My name is Jason Chen. I'm the International Recruitment Coordinator based out of our Toronto office. I mainly focus on the recruitment, coordinate with those events in JTA. So if you have any questions, and then I'm able to answer in terms of all the language or mission requirements, anything. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much. Next, I'll pass it over to Shannon to introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Jordan. I'm Shannon. I'm the coordinator of the Academic Support Zone on the Thunder Bay campus. So you'll encounter me right when you start off at Lakehead with the Student Success team, and then hopefully at several points throughout the year as you take advantage of our services.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shannon. And last but not least, I'll pass it over to Kayla and Aurelia.
Thanks, Jordan. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. I am the Student Success Advisor at the Aurelia campus. So for those of you coming to Aurelia, hopefully I'll get to meet you soon. And I will be helping you with anything from academic supports to career exploration and anything else that can help you with your journey at Lakehead.
Awesome. Well, we're really excited to have all three of you today to chat about the academic supports available at Lakehead to obviously help our students meet their academic goals, their personal goals, all that sort of stuff. I know that we have Jason for the next 20 minutes or so before he heads out for a meeting. So if you do have any questions for us today, I do encourage you to submit those using the Q&A. We'll dive into that in just a minute though. So what are we going to cover today? We're definitely going to chat about a brief overview of the Student Success Center, which is the department that both Kayla and Shannon work within. And then we're going to talk about academic prep sessions, academic tutoring, writing support, the math boot camp, as well as the resource library and what that looks like. We'll definitely have time to answer questions too from you viewers. So if you have any questions specific to Lakehead University or any one of those general topics, certainly I encourage you to ask those. Myself and Jason are happy to answer that. If you have any questions related to the academic supports and the student success, of course, we have Shannon and Kayla here who would be happy to answer those or at least get you connected with the right person on campus. Things to remember throughout today's webinar. If you do like what you're seeing, or for example, if you have to head out early or you join late, don't you worry, we'll be posting the recording on our YouTube channel. Lakehead University is the main account, and the playlist you're looking for is the Lakehead International Lives playlist. We'll also be sending out a link to that recording at the end of this week. So if you do have questions, like I mentioned before, questions specific to Kayla or Shannon, or questions in general that Jason or I can answer, if you're joining us on Zoom, you can always use the Q&A function to submit those and we'll be happy to address them. If you're joining us over on Facebook, you can always use the comments, and we do have Lakehead experts actually behind the scenes answering questions as well. And if you are watching this as a recording either on YouTube or on Facebook, I absolutely encourage you to still comment on the video. We will certainly receive that notification and we'll get back to you in a timely manner. Last but not least, I would like to remind you, if you like these sorts of events and you want to stay connected with us, you want to hear about the next one upcoming, explore your options, all that sort of stuff. Stay connected with us on our social media channels. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. For those of you joining us in China, we're also on Weibo, WeChat, and Youku. And we have plenty of posts going out with major announcements from the university, but also updates with regards to upcoming events, live events, all that sort of stuff, and sneak peeks into the university life. So I certainly encourage you to follow us. Without further ado, we'll dive right into the topic of the academic support zone. But first, I would love to pass it over. Maybe I'll start in Thunder Bay with Shannon to kind of do a brief overview of the Student Success Center. And then we can actually dive into some of those other more unique topics that are housed within your role.
Sure, thanks, Jordan. So the Student Success Center is available to you no matter which campus you're on in both Thunder Bay and Orillia. And we do a whole bunch of things for both incoming students as well as current students all the way to graduation. So with the SSC, we focus on academic support, everything from transitioning to university all the way to academic skills. We also offer career counseling. So if you're not really sure what you want to do with your degree or where it can take you, we can help you there in terms of career exploration. We also can provide resume assistance and job searching assistance. So once you get here, if you're looking for a job and you need some help, you can chat with us and we'll help you build up your resume so that employers will notice you and want to hire you, and we'll also help you with actually finding a job on or off campus. We also are in charge of the cooperative education program. So if you're entering a program with a co-op component, we will help you through that process. Any questions regarding co-op, looking for jobs, employability skills, basically whatever we offer for career advice will help you in terms of your co-op program as well. And then the last piece of the Student Success Center is student engagement. So if you are looking for volunteer opportunities on or off campus, we can help you with that. We offer something called the Excel Leadership Certificate. So to build up those leadership skills, we are in charge of that as well. Any type of orientation activities that you'll be encountering through the next several weeks as you begin your journey to Lakehead falls under us as well as the Student Ambassador program.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shannon. And then also to add on to that, for those viewers who may not have caught the webinars with some of your colleagues before, we've already met up with both the Career Zone coordinator as well as the co-op coordinator. And we did a full webinar, so that was the Careers and Co-op webinar. And you can head over to our YouTube channel to see that full recording. And last Monday, we actually had the pleasure to meet up with the director of the Student Success Center and the acting director of Student Affairs in Orillia, Sarah and Danielle. So we had a chance to chat about some of the broad services within those departments. And it was a really great conversation. They had a lot of good things to say. And a lot of knowledge to share about some of the supports in general that are provided, whether we're looking at academic supports, personal supports, orientation, student experience, all that sort of stuff. They went into great depth about it, so I'm really excited now that we get to kind of round it out with a full dive into the academic supports within Lakehead University. So on that note, I'll pass it over to maybe Kayla to start. And chat a bit about some academic prep sessions, or if Shannon, you would like to join in too, you can both speak about Orillia and Thunder Bay offerings.
Thanks, Jordan. Yeah, I'll start off. The academic prep sessions are very similar in both Thunder Bay and Orillia, and we usually run those through the first 6 weeks of classes. So for students who are coming to campus and just need some help with that transition to academics at the university level, we do offer an array of sessions. And Shannon, I'll pass that over to you just to speak specifically about the sessions.
Yeah, thanks, Kayla. So these are an excellent way to receive strategies, tips, tricks that we cover all the way from academic writing and academic integrity, especially to study skills, time management, We offer a variety of those sessions, like Kayla was saying, not only just in the first 6 weeks of your term, but also throughout the year. And if this is something that you don't happen to catch or you're not able to attend one, you can always meet with an advisor one-on-one to get the same sort of conversation and information about the same sort of skills as those academic prep sessions.
Awesome. Thank you so much for diving into those. So for our viewers, if you do have any questions about some of the specific sessions that are offered on campus or offered to our students in general, I encourage you to certainly ask those questions of our special guests now. Of course, all of this information can also be found on our website, lakeheadu.ca. And all you have to do is go to the students tab, and then there are dedicated sections, of course, for support services and whatnot. Alrighty, so there's a question now we have from Victoria. Since we are taking online classes, is it possible for you to help us apply for an online job? So I know that that's not necessarily within the realm of academic supports, but maybe I'll pass it over to Shannon or Kayla to speak about some of the services that Student Success Center will offer or has been offering to support students in looking for jobs.
Thanks, Jordan. I can take that on, as I am a career advisor as well as an academic advisor on the Aurelia campus. So in terms of online jobs, if we do receive job postings from employers, we have a bank, a job bank on the My Success, which students will get familiar with when they arrive on campus. But in terms of actual services that we can provide, that would be mostly the preparation for that job. So preparing a cover letter, a resume, and preparing for an interview, we can help with those skills. We do run workshops every week for basic skills, and then you can also meet with an advisor.
And also speaking to that, I know that as we look into the fall and look at a new alternative method of delivery for courses and online mainly too, I know that your tasks to potentially offer some version of our career fairs online will probably be coming up soon too. And the career fairs are something that our students always love to see. And I, as a student myself, I'm a graduate of Lakehead, I always participated in them and headed out because it's plenty of employers, over 100 employers at some points over a course of 1 to 2 to 3 days that are on campus interviewing or at least collecting resumes, collecting applications on the spot, chatting about the opportunities they have. And they also have specialized career fairs too that are for certain fields. So for example, if you're an engineering student or an education or teacher's education student, there's dedicated career fairs for that. Of course, so I'd like to note myself, even I went to the Teachers Education Career Fair and I chatted with some of those employers. And although they are seeking out, of course, graduates within that program to be a teacher within their school board, they also have other job opportunities that were suited for business students, suited for arts and social sciences students. They have a plethora of job opportunities that, of course, are there to support teachers on top of the actual main offerings within their company. So the next thing I would like to talk about is academic tutoring. I'll pass it over to our special guest to cover kind of what that looks like.
Thanks, Jordan. So one thing that's really cool about the Academic Support Zone is that we offer free daily academic support to all students. So this is both undergraduate and graduate students. One component of what we offer is tutoring. So we cover a variety of subjects, and the way our tutoring works is all program-based. So if you are in business, as an example, you could go attend the business tutoring session and ask the tutor a question from any course that you're taking. So it doesn't matter if we have a tutor specifically for economics, a certain course under economics, the business tutor in theory should be able to answer most of the questions that you're coming with. It is very common to see students consistently year after year from similar courses. So we've kind of narrowed down what the biggest needs are for our students, and that's the tutoring that we're able to offer to you for free. So all of our tutoring is available via the My Success calendar. And with the past couple of months and the way fall is continuing, there will be no change in this schedule, and it'll simply be offered online. So all you need to do is click on the session that you're interested in attending, find the Zoom link, and you can Zoom in with our tutor right to the session. So you can work on your work at home, and the tutor will have their screen up to see what you're working on as well. And they'll be able to screen share with you if, for example, you're having trouble solving an equation. They can do that with the whiteboard function on Zoom, also by simply just showing you what they're working on with the camera. So not to worry there with the way things are going for fall online. All of that service will still be available to you no matter which campus you are attending. And if you're also finding that you're struggling and you need one-on-one support, you can actually hire a private tutor from our tutor registry. So this is a list of students that's available to you to contact of students that are have identified themselves as being able to tutor for the course that you're looking for or for the program that you're in. And you would work directly with them to arrange a schedule, as well as the things that you need to work on specifically, and have that work for you as an individual rather than in a group scenario via Zoom.
And I think something to note there too is the fact that, like you mentioned, if you're, for example, a business student and you would like to ask general questions of the business tutor, and they'll be able to cover some of the broad knowledge. But if, for example, there's a certain class that you're not grasping necessarily, or you're maybe you're struggling with it a little bit more, like Shannon mentioned, there's that list of tutors available where you can actually say, okay, I am struggling with this course and I need to know more about these sorts of topics. And you can find a tutor that has designated that they are very knowledgeable about that. Of course, we all have our fields of subject that we excel within, and then we want to share that knowledge. So our students have actually identified themselves as, I'm really knowledgeable about economics, or I'm really knowledgeable about statistics. I can certainly help students with that. So we are offering the service, obviously, to connect you to, and we're providing that outlet to then help you with a more structured approach to that tutoring session.
Yeah, and you make a great point, Jordan, too, just going off the area of statistics. So because we've set up our tutoring as program-based, if you're taking a stats class in business, or you're taking a stats class in nursing, or if you're in the math program itself, or even engineering, you can attend tutoring from a variety of tutors. So you don't have to see one person. Anyone with that subject area under any of those tutoring areas would be helpful for you. So stats is a very common class that we see students needing extra support with. So you could attend the business tutoring session, the math tutoring session, engineering. So even though it might be only offered once a week under engineering, it could be several other times. So don't limit yourself specifically by just the name of that course. You can connect with myself or Kayla to ask if that tutor will be able to help you or has that knowledge in that area you're looking for.
For sure. And we do have another question from Victoria with regards to where you can locate the tutoring links and whatnot. So could you kind of, for our viewers, elaborate on what My Success is and sort of what we use that tool for?
Definitely. So My Success is one of your online student portals that you will become very familiar with, and more information will be released about this as our online orientation is released in the next couple of weeks. But My Success is largely the student success portal. So you can access a variety of our services on mysuccess.lakeheadu.ca. You can book an appointment with a student success advisor to chat about those academic skills like we were talking about earlier. You can book an appointment for career support. You can book an appointment in general if you just feel like you need someone to chat with, or you're struggling, or you want to get involved on campus. That's also something else that our student success advisor can help you with. And lastly, or sorry, not lastly, but the job bank that Kayla mentioned earlier is also on My Success. And then the academic support zone schedule. So once you sign in with your Lakehead username and password, you can click academic support zone for those of you who are attending the Thunder Bay campus. And then the Aurelia students have a separate tab for your events calendar, as well as your academic support schedule. And then whatever sessions that we have scheduled, so for example, math, which is really common, you'll actually see that listed on our academic support zone calendar or the events calendar, depending on where you're looking. And once you click on the event itself, that's where the Zoom link to attend tutoring will come up. So if you're not seeing what you're looking for on that calendar, it could be just the time of the year. Typically, we start tutoring in the second or third week of the term, depending on the program and what kind of student need that we're seeing. Or if it's also not listed, you can certainly reach out to one of us because we might not have seen a need for it before yourself. So we'd be happy to schedule something for you if that's what you're looking for.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shannon. And I do want to acknowledge that Jason does have to head out now. So I want to thank you, Jason, for joining us and being accessible to answer some questions from our viewers. I hope to, of course, have you on one of these in the near future.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for having me. I can be reached out by email or phone call that Jordan will share with you later. And also you can book a one-on-one meeting with me through our Lakehead University website under international page. So I can walk you through in more details to answer your questions and concerns. And thank you. Stay safe and bye for now.
Thank you, Jason. And building off of what he mentioned is we actually recently launched here in International new supports for the current situation, of course, so you can stay connected with our Lakehead experts and our recruiters. So you can actually, like he said, book one-on-one virtual counseling sessions with all of our recruiters. All you have to do is head over to lakeheadu.ca/international. You'll see a tab there that says COVID-19 resources for future international students. If you click on that, you'll be located to a new page that we have that covers all of the new support services that have been put in place. So when we did move remotely and we started working in this new normal in a sense, we launched plenty of services, and we wanted to show that we're doubling down to commit to being accessible for our students and being available to them kind of at a moment's notice. And that's all also built into these live webinars, being live every day at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We're here to obviously discuss topics such as the Academic Support Zone and many, many more. We've already covered plenty, but we're also here to answer general Lakehead questions or concerns from our viewers. So this is another opportunity for me to remind you, if you do have questions and you're on Zoom, you can use the Q&A function to submit those. If you're over on Facebook, you can use the comment section. Our experts behind the scenes will answer those. And if you're watching this video as a recording, you can always comment on either one of the videos, and we will receive that notification and be happy to address it. Moving on within the academic support zone, I know that writing support is another big category that we offer, and I know that many students have concerns with the language barrier and writing in general coming from an international or another language speaking country. So I'll pass off to Shannon to chat about that.
Sure, that's great. So like Jordan mentioned, we do see a ton of students visiting us for writing support, and we're happy to offer free writing support for whatever students, for whoever needs it. So we'll basically take you all the way from the planning to the publishing stage of your assignment. So if you receive an assignment from a professor that you're not really sure how to do or you've never heard of before, you can visit us and we'll try and we'll work with you to decipher what your professor is actually looking for, as well as what you want to say and how you actually want to say it. So this could be anything from developing an argument all the way to structuring your paper, organizing any of your ideas that you have, as well as something that's really, really important, and we see a lot of students who struggle with, is referencing information and properly citing others' ideas. So many students who come to us have never done this before. Acknowledge others' ideas or research that you're utilizing. And because Lakehead has a policy on academic integrity, it's important to make sure that you actually understand what that is, and that's something that the Academic Support Zone can help you with too. So that one-on-one writing support is again available through that My Success calendar. This does not stop year-round. So if you happen to be a summer student, we do have writing support available to you on both campuses, again, conducted over Zoom. So it's all distance support. It doesn't matter where you're studying from or where you live. It's a really simple process. All you would do is share your assignment or anything that you've written with our writing coach, and they'll work with you over Zoom as a one-on-one appointment. And again, this is free for all students, doesn't matter where you are. It also doesn't matter what year of your program you're in. So for both undergraduate and graduate students, we have writing support.
Awesome, thank you so much. And also to add on to that, I mean, I should definitely mention the fact that, of course, our audience right now is most likely mostly international students, as it is our international live series. But speaking to that is the fact that even though your first language isn't English, we have a variety of students accessing these supports. Even myself, born and raised here in Thunder Bay, I'm always looking to improve my writing skills, and I'm always looking to build upon the knowledge I already know. And I do agree with what Shannon said in the fact that each professor kind of has a unique style of how they might want you to write their essay, or they might have a really particular way how they want you to reference something. And if you don't necessarily understand that, we appreciate that, and we can help you with that. We have trained advisors, obviously, who are working through that. And I mean, another note here is the fact that what you've heard is that even though we are working from home and working remotely, we've taken all of our classic or traditional in-person sessions and supports, and we've simply moved them online. So they're still there, they're still accessible. And I would even argue that now, being that it's online and having the ability to kind of do it from the comfort of your own home is almost more easy to access. So then another topic I know that is a newer topic is the new math boot camp. So I'll pass it off to Shannon to touch on that.
Yeah, this is really exciting. And I do just want to circle back to something you just said before I continue on to Math Bootcamp. Writing support is certainly not exclusive to international students. So don't feel scared to tap into that, and don't feel worried that your English might not be as good as you want it to be. All students use these services, and particularly for international students, you could be learning a new language while you're trying to write an assignment. So don't feel any hesitation to utilize these services. That's what our writing coaches are here for, and we want to help you. So just make sure you reach out early before your professor tells you you need to work on something to actually get started before you write your entire paper and then maybe have to rewrite it all. So don't be scared to use our services and make that connection early. So switching gears to the Math Bootcamp, which is really exciting. So this is something we've launched new this year for college transfer students. It's a free online course that we've developed, and the goal of the bootcamp is to provide students with an opportunity to brush up on those math skills before starting at Lakehead. So this is the first time that many of our students will be studying at that university level. And so it's important to note that some of these skills that you need to know or that you might learn are different. And we recognize that many students don't come with them. So this Math Bootcamp in particular covers those key foundational topics like building good study habits, time management, understanding academic expectations. So this launches today, actually, so great timing, and it is all online. So if you are looking for more information on that, you can visit lakeheadu.ca/tutoring, and on the left-hand side, you can click the Math Skills Bootcamp link, or you can also access it through the Student Success Center webpage.
Awesome, that's really interesting. I'm excited to see how it turns out for you today in your first session ever. I'm sure that with our transfer students and just in general, such a basic knowledge of math, and I know many students are worried about that transition piece, whether they are going to be have the skills that are up to par with what our expectations might be or what your professor's expectations might be. So I'm sure you will have a lot of uptake in that program, and I wish you luck in your launch today. Another topic that we wanted to cover was the resources library, and I know that covers a very broad several part discussion as to the many resources that are available to our students through Academic Support Zone. So once again, I'll pass it back to you to chat on that.
Sure. So for anyone who is following along, lakeheadu.ca/tutoring is a very quick link to access several of our online resources. So we have a pretty large resource library on the bottom of that page. And what we've listed actually is student driven. So many of the things that are up on that site are things that students have recommended to us that they have found helpful. And so we're sharing them for you. Beginning with that is academic success resources. So a lot of these tie back to the overall goal of the Student Success Center rather than the Academic Support Zone specifically. So you'll find handouts on delivering effective presentations, on reading and note-taking, time management, managing test and exam anxiety, preparing for essay exams, different study strategies, as well as a 5-day study plan. So those are all listed under academic success resources. And then we also have a variety of writing resources. So if you're looking for something specific and you don't necessarily want to make an appointment with a writing coach, you can access these to read on your own time, as well as dive into and take important points out of those. So we have information on developing an essay outline, essay templates, information on introductions and conclusions, what a thesis statement is, all the way to information on self-editing your paper. So if you're looking for tips and strategies on proofreading and how to modify the structure, we have information on that, as well as types of papers in different genres. Also on that page, we have reference style guides. So this is really, really important as a student to take note of. Your classes may all ask you for a different way of citing or referencing or acknowledging other people's work. So when we use other people's work or research, we have to tell our readers that that is other people's ideas and we didn't make them up ourselves. So you may have heard of MLA as an example, or APA referencing. So there are different guides and different rules depending on what reference style you're responsible to use. And we have all of those guides and information about them listed on our website. Again, lakeheadu.ca/tutoring is the quickest way to access these. Underneath all of our reference style guides, you can also access a course that Lakehead offers called AWARE. So AWARE stands for Academic Writing and Research E-Learning. And it's a self-register course that you can access on my course link that helps support academic skills, knowledge, and strategies that you need to know being a university student. This is all module-based. It includes text-based resources, videos, links to additional materials. So if you've never referenced or cited something before, this would be really excellent for you to self-register for and complete via my course link. So instructions on accessing that are all listed on the website as well. And then the last couple of things that we have on that site are things to help with your spelling and grammar. So we know that autocorrect isn't always the best way to check our grammar and our spelling, and sometimes it's not always right either. So the Teaching Commons at Lakehead has put together a really large list of resources that offer free or low-cost options that you can download to your computer, or you can actually run your essay or assignment through in order to address problems with your writing. And then last is LinkedIn Learning. So all students in Ontario have free unlimited access to over 3,500 courses on LinkedIn Learning and 140,000 individual videos. So LinkedIn Learning is really cool. You can learn everything from how to use Microsoft Excel all the way to how to get better at photography, if that's what you're interested in. And these are all self-paced courses. It doesn't matter if you complete the whole thing or if you finish anything at all. It's really for your own knowledge.
And also to add on to that, I think with the LinkedIn Learning, I know personally, it's something that students can use both academically. So if it's, like you said, learning Excel and kind of navigating all the complicated formulas within that program, I myself as a business graduate can appreciate those complicated formulas and the frustration you might have with trying to solve a business computing problem. But also to add on to the photography aspect and kind of doing something out of passion. So having access to those courses just to learn some hobbies and to add on something that you're already passionate about, but maybe you want to gain new skills within. That's not academically driven. It's simply a resource available to you as a Lakehead student. I think this is a perfect segue actually into a question that is best suited for Kayla, or not best suited necessarily, but Kayla will cover. How, in your opinion, can student success advisors help students? So I know that's a really broad question, and I know it has so many different facets because there's different types of advisors within student success. But if you wouldn't mind covering kind of what that looks like for our viewers, that would be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Jordan. So how an academic advisor can help students, or how Student Success Center can help students, you're right, it does range from academic supports to career exploration to co-op, but also just to student engagement. So this is a big one for students coming to university for the first time, in this case likely coming to Canada for the first time. We're a really good first stop for students to get involved on campus. So some of the things that we offer are ways to get involved with leadership, ways to improve your leadership. And so I would just recommend getting familiar with the Student Success Center and meeting the advisors. And then when it comes to things like academic support, or maybe later down the road, you're looking at careers, then you know where to go and who to contact. Another thing that we offer, you mentioned earlier, is the career services and those career fairs. So that is a really good place for students to know what to do with their degree moving forward and to meet employers in the community. This year it will be offered virtually, and so I do encourage students to get involved with that. Again, using the My Success as a place to find those Zoom links and get in touch with employers. And I'll pass over to Shannon in case she has something more to add.
I think you pretty much covered it. Like Jordan had mentioned, to check out the previous webinars that we hosted with other members of Student Success. They cover a lot more of those things in depth too.
For sure, yeah. And I would love to remind our viewers, if you have any questions, we have a bit of time with our special guest still before we wrap it up. So if you have questions specific to academic supports or in general Lakehead questions, I know that we've all worked in several departments within Lakehead, so we're kind of a wealth of knowledge when it comes to answering those sorts of questions. And of course, we combined have quite a lot of time here at Lakehead. So we certainly encourage you to ask your questions, and we'd be happy to answer them live. And like I mentioned, if you're on Zoom, you can use the Q&A function. If you're over on Facebook, you can use the comments. If you're watching this as a recording, you can certainly comment on the video too, and we'll receive that notification and follow up with you after the fact. Another thing that I wanted to touch on is kind of the fact that how can a student advisor or student success advisor help you? And one of the main supports is that you can meet with any one of our advisors or approach the Student Success Center and kind of address your concerns. So whether you're unhappy with your grades, whether you're not fulfilled within those leadership opportunities, whether you need help exploring for that job hunt, Student Success Center can actually help you to develop an action plan towards meeting your goals. So obviously you can speak to short-term goals, which are getting a really good grade on an upcoming assignment or getting a great mark on an essay and accessing the writing supports. But also the long-term goals of eventually when I graduate, I would love to be in a management type role. In order to do that, I feel like I need to do some sort of leadership aspect, or I need to build on that, or maybe I need to do a co-op to get some real work experience within my degree. Obviously that has to be built into the degree itself. But these sort of options are available, and student success is very accessible in the sense that they're willing to meet with students at any point to start developing those plans and working on that action plan to what that looks like down the road. So it looks like we don't have any questions coming through. Maybe I'll pass it off as a personal question to both Shannon and Kayla. Could you speak about what your one favorite thing to do is within Student Success Center? So what service you enjoy most offering? I know we didn't technically prepare for this, but I think it's an easy one to answer because it's probably the one that you're most passionate about, or the one you have most fun helping students through. So maybe I'll get Kayla to start.
Yeah, thanks, Jordan. So I'm fairly new to the Student Success Center. I started back in February. So most of my experience has actually been working remote, but so far my favorite is the leadership opportunities for students. So specifically this year we have a lot of orientation leaders that are joining us to help welcome you as new students through our virtual orientation that we'll be launching soon. So working with this fabulous group of students who are engaging even online has been really the highlight of this position for me so far. So moving forward, just excited to have more leadership opportunities and hopefully seeing some of the students here today join in on those in the future.
Awesome. And then I'll pass it over to Shannon with the same question.
Yeah, so I would say I have two. One in regards to my role with the Academic Support Zone. I think one of my most favorite things is seeing particularly international students who actually take advantage of our writing support early on in the term. And you start to see over the course of their next several appointments with a writing coach, how much more comfortable and confident they feel with their writing, and actually expressing that. So when a student actually says, thank you so much, this was really helpful, or you see a student coming back and they're working on a different part of their paper because they feel good about the part that they were working on a couple weeks prior, it's really gratifying both as a staff member, but also someone who was a student as well. And I understand similar things to what you're going through as students in terms of writing. Of course, I know the whole other level of challenge for many of you who are coming with English as your second or even third language. So I commend you for working on that and committing yourself to getting better to developing those skills too. So that's my favorite in terms of the Academic Support Zone. And then with the Student Success Center as a whole, I love the orientation and transition process for students and seeing students engage with all the new things that they're learning coming to Lakehead, and what kind of services and support we can offer you. I love being able to share that information and the passion that we all feel for wanting to help students. So I hope that you're able to reach out with questions that you have, because we certainly love to answer them. So don't be too scared.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much to both of you for speaking about sort of the particular services or supports or aspects within SSC that you have a passion for, and also to add on to something Shannon was saying about the gratitude of seeing the success of students. So when they have come to you with a piece of a paper that they need to write and they do an entire section, and watching that improvement over time. I've met up with several students over the course of the last couple of months now over on Instagram. So every Tuesday and Thursday we do Instagram lives. They're called Thunderwolf Tuesday and Thunderwolf Thursday. And I like to ask them sort of, what were some of the things that you were excited about and nervous about as you made your journey to Thunder Bay to Aurelia? And quite commonly, many of them will say, I was nervous that there was going to be a significant language barrier. And time again, when I ask them, okay, so how did you overcome that? What was your experience actually like? So you have the perceived idea of what it's going to be like when you arrive. But now that you've lived that experience, you've been here for a year, 2, 3, 4 years, what has that been like? And time again, they will say, accessing the supports at Lakehead, or at least connecting and continuing to build on your English skills, will help you overcome any sort of language barrier. And when you are confused or when you need extra assistance, reaching out and connecting with us. So like I said, we have our student success advisors here with us today. Some of them, of course, we have quite a few more. But then we also have the international student advisors that are able to guide our international students in many different ways. And we have international student advisors on the Thunder Bay campus, as well as on the Aurelia campus, who very similarly have changed their entire platform to an online method and are still fully accessible throughout this new normal of being in a remote working online method. So we do have a question. Do you know how much job opportunities there are for beginners within the Masters of Environmental Engineering? So that's a really great question. Myself, I don't know the specific numbers as to how successful our graduates have been. I can speak to, of course, the overall number of the fact that I believe it is 96.7% of all Lakehead grads are employed within 2 years. And of course, the Masters of Environmental Engineering is within that broad overview of how many students and graduates are employed within that 2 years. I certainly encourage you actually to connect with us though. So if you send us an email over at welcome@lakeheadu.ca and you pose us the same question, we'd be happy to connect you with the proper team on campus to kind of explore those job opportunities within a very specific field. And I'll pass it over to Kayla also to add something as well.
Yeah, thanks, Jordan. I just wanted to add that we do have a career fair specific for engineering students, and that will still happen remotely. So if you are interested in the job opportunities for engineering graduates, I would highly encourage that you attend that fair and you can meet with some potential employers in the community.
For sure. Well, thank you again for adding that, Kayla. It has come to that time where I will begin my wrap up. If you have any last questions, I certainly encourage you to submit those and we can take one last chance to take a look. So we are on quite a few social medias and I certainly encourage you to join us and follow us there. So we're on Facebook at Lakehead University International. Within that Facebook page, we actually have a group started called the Incoming Class of 2020 for Lakehead University. As of this weekend, I admitted roughly another 20 students, I believe, over Saturday and Sunday. So we're over 300 students now. Great conversations are already happening within that group itself. People are meeting potential roommates, they're meeting future classmates. They're also meeting people that are back home in the same hometown or same country, and they're establishing connections so that when they do start their journey at Lakehead and when they do start their courses, they already have established friendships. So it's really great to kind of stand back and see that all that happening on a student-run aspect. We're also on Instagram, like I mentioned, so Lakehead International is our handle. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we go live with a current student or potentially an alumni, and we chat about their experience here at Lakehead. So we'll dive into the student life, we'll dive into clubs, working on campus, off campus, academics, the journey itself to Canada and to Lakehead, what that looked like. And then of course, we're able to answer questions. So tomorrow when we're joined with Yichen, who joined us from China, and now she's pursuing education in chemistry, she can speak to her journey from China, but also speak to the education courses, the chemistry courses, her involvement in clubs, working on campus, all that sort of stuff. We're also on Twitter, Lakehead INTL, and we're on YouTube, Lakehead University. I'd like to mention we do have 2 dedicated playlists to our international audience members. So Lakehead International is one playlist that's a broad overview of some of our offerings here on campus. And then the Lakehead International Lives playlist is, of course, where all of our recordings go once we wrap up the sessions. So today's session, of course, will be uploaded to our YouTube later on today. And for those of you joining in China, we are on Weibo, WeChat, and Youku. So you can certainly access several offerings within there and watch videos about Lakehead and learn more about Lakehead from those channels. Last but not least, I would like to encourage you, if you are interested in exploring kind of the campus environment, what our buildings look like, what the facilities look like, and I definitely encourage to explore what the surrounding environment looks like and how beautiful both campuses are. You can take a virtual tour from the comfort of your own home at lakeheadu.ca/tours. And that tour is actually a virtual tour, and it's no appointment necessary, and it's done at your own pace. So if you would like to start today, do the first 15 minutes, explore a few buildings here and there, and then come back tomorrow, even later this week, to finish up the tour. We certainly encourage you to do that, and you can do that at your own pace once again. So I'll flip over to the Q&A here, check it out. Looks like we haven't received any more questions. That's okay. If you are, once again, watching this as a recording, you can submit that in the comments and we'd be happy to answer. Otherwise, I would like to thank you for joining us, and thank you especially to Shannon and Kayla for joining us today. I definitely certainly appreciate having you touch on the academic supports here at Lakehead. and really diving into the topics. I know our viewers are also appreciative to hear from you and learn more. So thank you again. That wraps it up for me today. So I will say bye for now, and hopefully we will see you tomorrow over on Instagram Live.